Have you ever loaded into a match of Dead by Daylight and heard those ominous calls from the distance and instantly sigh, thinking, yep, it's the artist? Well, you are not alone. She is one of Dead by Daylight's most unique killers, but also one of its least picked. Which is very odd considering, on paper, she's terrifying. So, what went wrong? Today, we'll be taking a closer look at one of Dead by Daylight's most unsettling designs and why she slowly faded from the fog. Welcome back to Forgotten Foes of the Fog, the series where we dig up Dead by Daylight's most neglected, overlooked killers and ask why no one's playing them anymore. Released in Chapter 22, A Portrait of a Murder, Carmina Mora, or also known as the Artist, brought one of the most visually striking designs to the game. Her lore is a tragic spiral of political protest, betrayal, and eldritch horror, but in a match, she's all about prediction, pressure, and control. Her power, Birds of Torment, lets her summon up to 3 dire crows. Once charged, they are launched forward, damaging survivors in their immediate path, or infesting them if they have been hit at a range. Infested survivors will leave a trail and reveal their position temporarily, which is perfect for chases or denying loops as a killer. But here's the catch. The artist is less about raw speed or direct chase, and more about forcing survivors into bad decisions by blocking windows, vaults, and safe tiles before they even get there. And that takes a good read on your opponents. So why don't people pick her? Well, she has a few problems. First up, she's highly reliant on prediction and map awareness. Unlike killers who can brute force their way through a chase with speed or anti-loop tools, the artist needs to read a survivor's route before they commit to it. Good artist players are always one step ahead, placing their crows where they think the survivor's about to go, not where they currently are. And the thing is, survivors aren't clueless. Every time you place a crow, there is a distinct audio cue, and any half-decent survivor will clock the sound and instantly change their pathing. The best survivors learn to bait out crow placements, doubling back or dodging wide, forcing the artist to waste her power on empty spaces. Sure, most killers rely on reading survivors' movement. However, with the artist, it isn't optional. Her entire power revolves around creating moments where survivors are either blindsided by a well-placed shot or pigeonholed into a tile where there's no good option left. Miss your crows and you're stuck in a painfully slow M1 chase, with no mobility, no real chase power, and little chance to catch up in a hurry. And secondly, she's surprisingly map dependent. On tight, cluttered maps like Midwich, Dead Dog, or RPD, the artist will really struggle to make full use of her power. Her crows rely on long, clear sightlines to zone survivors, cut off loops, and snipe them from a distance. But on maps packed with walls, doorways, multiple floors, and sharp turns, those clean angles disappear fast. Now, it doesn't completely shut her down. You can still use crows effectively at short range to interrupt loops or force survivors off certain pallets. In tight spaces, smart artists will aim crows through key choke points or doorways, limiting survivors' options. The problem is, those moments are fewer and less effective, and you lose the biggest strength of her kit, map-wide presence and long-range pressure, due to restricted sight. In a game where you don't get to choose your map, that inconsistency makes her a risky pick. You might roll an open map like Eyrie of Crows and absolutely dominate, or get thrown into Midwich and spend the whole match chasing survivors through rooms that are too narrow for your birds to matter. And it's that unpredictability that pushes players towards killers with tools that work reliably anywhere on any map. Thirdly, and this is a big one, there's a serious lack of payoff for the effort it takes to get good with Artist. The Artist is not a beginner-friendly killer at all. Her power is kind of clunky to learn, relies on prediction rather than reaction, and demands solid map knowledge, game sense, and effective zones to set up your crows. And even once you start landing shots, the satisfaction can feel underwhelming. Chipping health states from a distance or zoning survivors is useful, but it rarely leads to those thrilling, adrenaline-pumping chase moments that most players live for. For many players, the large learning curve just does not match the reward. Why would you spend hours mastering long-range prediction shots when you could just run a strong killer such as Nurse, Blight, or Spirit and delete that inconsistency and uncertainty in half of the time? That imbalance between skill investment and reward is a big reason why she slipped off the radar for a lot of Dead by Daylight players. So, is she really that bad? The thing is, she is far from a weak killer. You will see her very often in tournaments or competitive settings. The artist can pose a serious threat with the ability to hold teams and rounds of trials hostage with ease. She can easily deny unhooks and injure survivors from across the map, which makes her one of the most oppressive killers when played really well. It's just that her high skill floor, prediction-reliant gameplay, and map dependency make her an unpopular pick in regular public matches. It's less about raw strength and more about how many hoops you need to jump through in order to access a decent game as the artist. The artist currently averages a pick rate of 1.19%, and does she really deserve that low pick rate? Or is she one of Dead by Daylight's most underrated killers? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Next time, we'll be diving into one of horror's most iconic monsters and one of DBD's most iconic characters, with a pick rate that is so unbelievable you wouldn't believe it. And that's right, we're looking at the Demogorgon. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up because it really helps me out. And make sure that you are subscribed to catch the next episode of Forgotten Foes of the Fog. Until next time, I will see you then.